Bear Brothers, the Vireon Saga, Part 2, A Darker Shade, The Coming of the Orks. Whether the Orks came accidentally, wandering after their own mercurial navigations, or whether they too were drawn by Vireo's mysterious call, will never be known, but come they did, in fire and blood as they always do. No doubt the Vireon people would have ceased to exist within a month had not half the Orc fleet immediately turned away when they saw what a pitiful opportunity for battle the planet offered. Those Orcs, who were disinclined to pass up any chance at battle, remained in orbit and dithered for a while in their hulks, resolving some internal dispute before descending upon the hapless planet. In this too, fate smiled upon the humans, for the whole of the Orc invasion force, having transposed coordinates, mistakenly landed somewhere on the North Polar continent, thousands of kilometers from the Imperial colony. Instead of taking to their ships again and correcting the error, the frenzied Orcs disembarked anyway, running in whatever direction they assumed the humans to be. This apparent miracle was met with great relief at Jegan Station, and the more so because destruction had been assured, as no one was coming to help. At the Orc fleet's appearance, the alarmed administration had sent for aid, but relations with the rest of the Imperium had deteriorated so badly that even these desperate pleas were ignored or brushed aside with vague platitudes and excuses of more pressing troubles elsewhere. For the better part of a year, the Vireon humans dared to hope that the Orcs had simply gone away, believing the ships they had left in orbit must have stopped working and been left behind. But it was not so. Rumors from the northern tribes began to reach colonial territory. Stories told of a great army of massive green trolls that had spilled out of the northern mountains and was annihilating village after village. The colonists, of course, knew these beasts to be the Orcs they had dared to wish away. Reconnaissance confirmed these fears, but also brought hope. The Orc army was much smaller than anticipated and was not well armed. Apparently, they had nearly decimated themselves before they met their first Vireon. When the battle frenzy that consumed them after disembarkation subsided, the Orcs found themselves in a lifeless wilderness with nothing to battle, and they were lost. The frozen polar expanse sustains a perpetual blizzard and looks the same in every direction. Unable to relocate their landing craft, the horde trudged onward. Many were lost or frozen alive, while the Orcs scrambled all over the Arctic continent. It was as if Vireo itself abhorred the loathsome greenskins and sought to purge them from its face. Eventually, the frustrated Orcs turned on one another again. The slaughter continued until they felt better, not caring that they had killed half their number. Truly, Orcs thrive on violence as other races require food. For afterward, the invigorated survivors swiftly crossed out of the polar regions as if they knew the way. Though more were lost in a careless crossing of an icebound sea, they marched for all the world like it was all according to plan. And perhaps it was, as the Orc gods know no kindness. They finally descended out of a great northern range and fell upon the completely unprepared villages of a remote Vireon tribe. Finally tasting the flesh of man, they continued south with still greater vigor, massacring all in their path, as is their wont. Having lost most of their vehicles, they built wooden siege equipment and tanks, essentially carriages, for their remaining artillery pieces. They especially delighted in capturing and torturing the proud Vireon bears. They were fond of casting human captives and one another into pits of them, as well as other insane activities, such as attempting to replace their own limbs with the mighty bear limbs. The Orcs found a worthy opponent in the native Vireons, however. Once they had properly roused themselves, the northern tribes united and waged their effective brand of warfare against the Orcs. Fighting Orcs came far more easily to the native Vireons than fighting the entrenched colonists had. The fierce, abrupt battles suited them. Millennia of experienced guerrilla fighting on their own turf earned the Vireons some success, remarkable all things considered. They were master raiders in their own right, whether by sea in their longships or on foot in their forests. Rather than trembling with fear, They relished the battle nearly as much as the Orks did, and were quite adept at learning from their opponents and utilizing whatever they found, including modern weaponry. As the Ork army drove south, the northern tribes harried them and allied with each Tuatha, whose territory they entered. Soon, the Vireon tribal army greatly outnumbered the Greenskins and began to win more often than lose. The Ork horde came within 200 kilometers of the colony's northern border before the tribal army finally halted its advance. Following an especially ferocious battle that ended in crushing defeat, the Orks retreated into the passes of a nearby range of Vireo's craggy mountains. Rather than pursue them, the tribesmen let them go, resolutely believing they had sent the trolls back to the underworld they had come from, and that the matter was closed. Ultimately, this victory was the Vireons' greatest failure. The Orks, though now reduced to only several thousand, found the rocky passes quite to their liking, providing a secure and convenient staging area for raids on the nearby colony. The perhaps unwitting tribesmen had effectively escorted the Orks to the Imperial doorstep and then gone home. The innumerable cracks and caves of those mountain passes would prove a great bane to future generations of humans.